All right, I am delighted to welcome Kumiko to the Sasuga podcast. And my first question, Kumiko, is how are you feeling?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for having me here today. How am I feeling right now? I am so nervous. I cannot believe that I'm being interviewed. Yes, so I'm really nervous now.
That is so great. And so just to give the listeners and viewers a little bit of backstory. So Kumiko is one of the Team Sasuga members, and she was even like mentioning on our, a private chat channel from a couple of days ago, I'm so nervous about the interview.
I couldn't help it.
And so I think this is, it's good that we're open about this, because a lot of people think that, oh, it's just me. I feel so nervous about speaking in public, or, what will people think of me? And it's okay. So we're going to just have a little conversation today, and it's going to be great that people can listen and watch and enjoy and learn. So tell us, I've just said that you're one of the Team Sasuga members, but tell us a little bit more about yourself, Kumiko.
Okay, so my name is Kumiko. I used to work with Helen, and I used to work in the same company as Helen. I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago. So that's where I met Helen. And after having 2 kids, I started my own business as a food and flower designer. So I used to travel a lot, and I lived in many different countries. And ever since I was a little kid, I had the passion to cook. So wherever I go, wherever I travel, wherever I live, I learn local recipes from the local people. And now that I'm back in Japan, I run workshops and classes to teach how to cook different foods from around the world. And of course, I'm a member of Team Sasuga. I work with Helen, which I really enjoy. And so when you asked me if you can interview me, I was like, what? But on the second thought, I thought, if I can contribute and help other people by sharing my experience, why not step out of my comfort zone? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here I am.
Yeah, and right. So, and I feel like we could probably go on talking for hours and hours, but I want to keep this a little bit short and focused for everyone. So just going straight to the topic of your cooking. So as well as working in Team Sasuga, you're also growing your own business, and I'm really looking forward to the day that I can come around and have some of your food as well. What about doubts that you've had in the past? So, like in terms of confidence.
Yeah, confidence. Yeah. Yeah. So I've been struggling quite a lot to find the way to to become confident. And after going through a few ups and downs, and going through some hard time, now I believe that the key word to confidence is self-acceptance. In other words, self-worth. So speaking about myself, so after having my first kid, I became a stay-at-home mom. And that was where I started to lose my confidence. And I used to think that being a stay-at-home mom is something embarrassing, and even, useless, because I'm not contributing to the society, which, by the way, now that I think about it, it's such a stupid thing to think about. But back then I used to think like that.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about that? So how do you see that differently now?
Well, because why do I see it differently?
Being a stay-at-home mom.
Oh, because now I realize that it's okay to want what I want. It's okay to be myself. So no matter what people thinks about me, if I'm okay with it, I'm fine. Yeah, so that was a big realization. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
So back then, I just couldn't find worth in myself. And so I didn't want to see my friends, because I was, they were working hard and contributing to the society, and they were getting the promotion and doing everything while I was at home and just sitting there and taking care of my kid. And, you know, I did have the option to, you know, start up my own business. But back then I just thought, I don't have the skill yet. I can't do it because my kids are still young. And who am I to teach people? I had this, you know, limiting beliefs. So then the turning point was, I don't know if I told you this before, but the turning point was the retreat organized back in 2018. Yeah, so ever since then, I got really interested in self-development.
Since then, you got interested in self-development?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
until then, no, I never read books related on that topic.
Really?
No. I was just, you know, in my negative spiral all the time and, you know, thinking, well, how can I get out of this?
Okay, so let me just give a little background information for listeners and viewers if you're watching this, the video version of this as well. So a few years ago, I was organizing women's retreats. So we would go to a lovely onsen resort and spend some time learning and sharing and just sort of reflecting on things and just having a really great time. I ran these a few times, and maybe in the future we might get back to doing this again. But I wanted Kumiko to come along and join as a member of Team Sasuga so that she can actually experience what it is that we're offering, but I had no idea that this was such a turning point for Kumiko.
That was a huge turning point. I mean, ever since then, I read so many books, and I attended a few online programs that's on personal development. And during my past few years, I learned so many things through these online programs. And the biggest learning is that you really have to love yourself. Nothing matters except of what you think of yourself. And it's okay to want what you want. This was so powerful. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to lie in bed when I'm like 80 or 90 years old and lie in bed and look back at my life and think, you know, regret the things that I didn't do. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to do what I want to do. So after that realization, I gave myself permission to want what I want and really challenge what I wanted, what I want in life. So I got serious about focusing on my lifelong passion, which was food and flower. And decided to run more classes and workshops, and I started my Instagram account, and I felt much better. I felt so happier about my life. Yeah, so it's all about self-acceptance and giving yourself that worth.
Yeah. And it's led to some things that were kind of unexpected as well, as I understand it.
Oh yes. Yes, yeah, I was going to talk about it, but so after I started to tell people that I am a food and flower designer. I kind of manifested to the world, you know? And then after like in 2 months or so, people would reach out to me and ask if I can do lessons for them. And what was a big surprise was that, you know, one of the potential client turned out to be a really famous person, which was like totally out of the blue. So you never know what will happen, but you just have to keep trying. You have to just keep walking, you know, towards what you want.
Yeah, I love that. And also what I'm thinking as well is, you know, you're talking about the situation of originally being the stay-at-home mom and you were feeling that you weren't contributing to society. And then also it's often the case for women who are back in the corporate world after having kids, and they go through all the mother guilt that we often call it, you know, mother guilt, because they feel that, yeah, they're doing their thing in the office, but they're not being a good enough mother. So there's very often this kind of, we feel like we're not doing enough, we're not good enough. But then going back to what you say is like, really it's about what you want and what makes you happy, and then how you organize things around that.
Exactly. Yeah. Life becomes so easier when you just allow yourself.
Brilliant. So what about then, we often talk in the online programs as well about confidence and productivity. So what about productivity or using your time effectively?
Yeah.
Time and energy effectively.
So having, being a mother of 2 little kids and having 2 different jobs, I would say I'm a pretty busy person, but at the same time, I really need my personal time, a time that I can really focus on myself. So what I do is I wake up early in the morning, like 2 hours before my family wake up.
So what time are you waking up?
Usually 5 or 5:30.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, people tell me I'm crazy, but yeah. And then I do yoga, I sit and meditate. And something that I recently started is I set the intention for the day. I sit down and ask myself, how do I want my day to be? What kind of tone do I want to be? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, setting intention. So I was actually, this is interesting that you mentioned this, because I was thinking about bringing up this topic again, maybe on another podcast episode, or maybe on another podcast episode, because I did actually, the very first episode of the Sasuga podcast was about setting intentions. And so that's something that for those of you who are listening and watching, if you haven't listened to that one, you can go back and listen to it. I feel a bit like Hazukashi, because it's like, that was my first podcast episode, and I feel like I was so awkward at the time. But I think there's some important lessons in setting intentions. So why and it's something that I do, and we do in a team as well, as you know. Why is setting intention so important for you?
Yeah, because, for example, today my word of the day was peace in mind, because I knew that I'm having this interview today and I didn't want to get nervous and everything. I mean, when I woke up this morning, I felt so nervous. So after I did my yoga, I told myself that today I'm going to live in peace. And I would, imagine that I'm getting interviewed and being really peace in mind, with peace in mind. And then I felt like, okay, I can do it. But without that, if I didn't do that, I'll probably be like, oh my God, I'll probably go into my negative spiral and think, oh, what if I forget what I wanted to say? Or what if I faint, I really imagine. So really imagine and go through the day and wish that you will do fine. That makes, a whole different story.
Right, I love it. And by the way, it wouldn't be the first time that someone's fainted for me. Like, I am not kidding. I did a presentation skill class. One of the students fainted.
Oh my God.
And it was okay. Actually, she fainted, she recovered, and she got back and she did her presentation again. But it was like, this is what this does sometimes happen. People get so worked up about something that they that can happen. But it was okay. Like, so sometimes we think, oh, that's the end of the world, but it's not, right? You just sort of, you get up and you continue.
Oh, I can relate myself.
Right. Yeah. Often we make it such a big deal in our minds, but it's actually not, we're just like having a conversation, so it's totally fine. So for productivity, then setting intentions, I totally agree with you on that one. And then, we talk about, so by the way, this is today, as this episode is being released, is actually the first day of the How to Feel Confident, Be Productive, and Get the Results You Want in Life, the online training experience. So there we do talk about getting results as well. What can you tell us about getting results and what you've experienced there?
Yeah, results. Yeah. So I'm really happy that I'm now able to accelerate my business. And I think the magic, the secret that really helped me accelerate to let all these things happen, is that I just mentioned that I started to tell people that I'm a food and flower designer. And I told my mind with no doubt that this is what I want to do. So when people would ask me, so Kumiko, what do you do? I would say, oh, I'm a food and flower designer. So I sort of, told the world, manifested to the world that I am a food and flower designer. And then, that miracle happened. Like this really my potential client was a famous person, which was like a big, big surprise for me. I mean, myself 2 years back would never imagine such thing would happen in the future. I mean, it was just this little steps that I took, and all those coaches taught me how to. So the lesson here was that, most people would wait to see it, to believe it. But I chose to believing it, to seeing it. And when you do that, really the gears start to move.
Yeah. That is brilliant. So what, if you imagine, you take yourself back to Kumiko 2 years ago, what do you think she would say looking at you now?
Oh my gosh, she'll be surprised. Because 2 years ago, I was so depressed. Oh. Yeah, she'll be like, wow, how did you do that? And back, sometimes when I'm working with Team Sasuga, you ask us to, see if there's any potential podcast interview guests. So I would go on the internet and search for like women who are really doing fabulous things in the world. And I would always look at them and think, oh, wow, those people are great. I would never be that interviewee. Yeah. And I was, sugoi na, honto sugoi na tte. But now, look at myself, I'm being interviewed, right? So I was like, yesterday I was talking to my husband and he was like, wow, how did you do that? Yeah, so I can't believe it.
Okay, so now so Kumiko 2 years ago would look at you now and go, sugoi, right?
Yeah.
What about Kumiko today, looking back at Kumiko 2 years ago? What would you say to Kumiko 2 years ago?
I would say everything is going to be all right. And you are okay the way you are right now. You are perfect. Yeah. Because I was always looking for, opportunities, like if there's anything out there, like 他にもっといいことないかなとか、もっとできることがあるんじゃないかな、もっともっと、やるべきことはできてるのかしらって。I always used to think like that. But there's no answer. I mean, I was okay back then. And I am okay right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it was that not enough, like the I am not enough kind of feeling. Right. And getting over that. I love that. Now, as well as being a member of Team Sasuga, and as I said earlier on, I invited you to come and join the retreat because I wanted you to see what we were doing there, and obviously I wanted you to benefit from that experience as well. And another thing that you've done as a member of Team Sasuga is you also joined the Sasuga VIP Women's Coaching Program. So since you're here, could you share with us what was your biggest learning from participating in this?
I can't say in one word, but I would say there are things that you can't really learn or find when you're just sitting by yourself and learning by yourself. Sometimes you need that external push on the back, someone to push a little bit on your back and give you that extra energy to move forward. Especially when you're facing self-doubt, you need that external push. On your back. And that was the VIP Sasuga program for me. I, in the beginning of the program, you would set a goal, and with Helen's support, you gradually get nearer to the goal, which I'm working on right now. Yeah, so if you have self-doubt and you don't have confidence in doing something, online programs could be one, choice to really make that happen.
Yeah, a way of getting that support. Yeah, absolutely. What about so this is one thing that a lot of women say, and you said, you know, you already have two businesses that, you know, you've got the Team Sasuga work, you've got your own business that you're running as well. Time to study, like time to actually participate in a program like the Sasuga VIP Women's Coaching Program. What's your response on that one?
Time. I mean, time. If you want to grow, you just have to look for the time. There's no, like, you can't do it. If you want to grow, if you want to make something happen, you can't say, I don't have time. You have to, 自分ファーストにしなきゃいけない。他人ファーストじゃなくて自分ファーストになって、people might think, oh, that person is 自分勝手, but that's okay. They're not going to change your life. You have to change your life by yourself. So you just have to look for that time.
I love that. Yeah. It goes back to what you were saying earlier about it's about loving yourself and respecting yourself and prioritizing yourself.
Yeah. It's all about self-acceptance.
Wonderful. I love that. All right, so we've talked a little bit about confidence. We've talked a little bit about productivity and getting results. What else would you like to share with Sasuga podcast listeners?
Yeah, I think I talked a lot, but one thing that made my life really easier is that don't really rely on other people, but fulfill yourself by yourself. So if you want to have a happy life, you have to create it yourself. No one will do it for you. So really, don't 人のせいにしないで、自分で自分の幸せは作らないといけない。
Right. Yeah. It's like taking the responsibility as well. Rather than, you know, so sometimes people get into complaint, like as you were saying earlier as well, negative thinking, complaining. But what I'm hearing from you is that it's about taking responsibility for your own happiness, really.
Yeah. And as I'm talking, I'm really surprised how positive I am now, because I just remember too, like the very first time I attended the Sasuga VIP program, the first thing you asked is, so what do you want to learn? So I said, how do I get rid of my negative thoughts?
Yeah.
And I would always, question you this question. But now that I realize that it's all about self-acceptance, that negative thought I'm still working on it, but it's really decreased. I mean, it's almost gone.
Yeah. And I remember as well, self-esteem was a big topic for you, which is for many people. And people often don't even realize that is the thing, because they're often like so busy wanting to achieve so much and get recognition. They don't realize that it's actually that they have a low sense of self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can see from listening to you, and certainly from seeing you on video, I mean, my goodness, there's no signs of any kind of lack of self-esteem. Like, definitely.
Oh my goodness. I have come quite far.
A very long way. Yes. Brilliant. I love it. And so just as we're going to get into wrapping up very soon, but Kumiko, is there anything else that you wanted to share?
I'm good.
Yes, you're good. You're great.
I did it.
You did it. Fantastic. So do you have a celebration planned for?
Yes, tonight I'm going to have a glass of beer in the kitchen.
Oh,
yay!
Okay. Oh, I tell you what. Can you take a photo?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
And let's post that on social media as well. This is a celebration after.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to make sure as well. Well, actually, just tell us, how can people learn more about your food and flower?
Oh, okay. I have an Instagram account. It's Kumi_Nagish. Yeah, so you can find me there.
All right, so we'll link to that in the show notes, which will be at sasugacommunications.com/episode hyphen 62.
Wow.
You can tell I've practiced this a few times. This is the thing. It's like, you just keep doing it and it gets easier and easier. So that will be in the show notes. And yeah, I do recommend to listeners, viewers, go and have a look. Subscribe, in fact. Is it subscribe? No, follow Kumiko on Instagram. Her photos there are beautiful, and like the food that keeps appearing. And as I said at the beginning, I am so looking forward to coming around. And
yes, definitely.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kumiko.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. I really appreciate it. And you do such a fantastic job in Team Sasuga as well. I tell you, what everybody is listening to and seeing and everything that's going on in the business would not be happening without Kumiko's fantastic.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.